guys your family? What do these guys mean to you?
I mean, they mean everything to me. These guys from day one, second grade, I put the helmet and the pads on. And some of these boys I've been playing with since second grade. So, I mean, that's the most important part is, we were beating Southington for 5 years straight when we were winning all those youth championships. And, I told this team, we're winners. We're born winners. We've never been any losers. So this senior class knows how to win, and that's what we've been doing this whole year. And that's what we've been doing our whole life. So, nothing's changed. I don't know why people think we're any different. We're that senior class that's won those state championships before, so we're going to do it again.
Jeez, I don't know how you put it into words, really. Listen, I don't know. I'm just really fortunate and lucky to be around him. You know what I mean? And I say that to all our seniors. Maddie's an unbelievable human being. And he's one of those guys that, as a coach, he makes us look really good. And I'm just really fortunate to be able to share space with him and be in those four walls with him and be out here on the turf with him, because he's the type of kid that you hope your son grows up to be like or your daughter marries. That's the type of person he is. And that's the ultimate compliment. I have a son and a daughter. And that's the person that he is. And I'm really fortunate to be able to be around him, and I'm really fortunate to be around these seniors.
Let's go!
That's what it's all about. Play together, stay together, family. Let's go. Hey, great on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Meat Grinder, your weekly dose of high school football in Connecticut. And I'm your host, Sean Patrick Bowley. With me, as always, is Pete Paguaga. Peter, happy Thanksgiving, post-Thanksgiving, happy postseason. We have reached it. We have made it. What's up? It's over. The regular season's over. We are on to the playoffs. How you doing? How you doing, pal? How was Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving was great.
Yeah?
It was great. It was so nice. We hosted, so I got to see my family, which was kind of nice. I don't really get to do that every Thanksgiving. Traffic on the way back from Greenwich was not terrible. So I didn't miss that much. Other than that, overall, it was great. Yeah,
mine was a little harried. My mom had to push Thanksgiving dinner to 3, and I told her she can thank the CIAC for that. Because I hate being right all the time. But, when did I say this? We didn't know this was coming, but when it became apparent that this rollout was going to be a problem, it was like mid-season, and I'm like, guys, I'm worried about Thanksgiving. So I saw some of the CIAC guys out there. I'm worried about Thanksgiving. I said it on the podcast. I'm worried about Thanksgiving. Last week, I'm worried about the playoffs. We got assurances. I'll be all right. All right. In the end, it was all right. But that tense hour or so after the games on Thursday, it became a little bit of a mess. It became a lot of a mess. There were a lot of angry people out there looking for scores, could not get on the website because it kept crashing. They got a 401 whatever error message.
Yeah.
And it was turned into a nightmare. So thankfully, and not to pat myself on the back, but Ned Griffin, who's been doing some work for the Hartford Current, formerly of the Day of New London, does a lot of the points. He's checked all the points. Thankfully, Ned, who tore his Achilles tendon and has been laid up and was at a friend's house, was able to talk with me. And we all were able to figure out the playoff points and send us out for Thanksgiving. It's not so much the problem I had, really, Pete, was, I know it takes time, but and I know it was eventually going to come out, but listen, I need to get this done before I go to Thanksgiving. And it's like, we didn't hear anything for the CIAC. Nobody said a word. We just got an hour after or 2 hours after the fact, we just got a link and here's the playoff pairings. It wasn't helpful. And a lot of people were left out there trying to figure out who was in and who was out. We were able to do it, thankfully, and it was correct. So we just, because we know how to do this. We know how to do the points. We just added the last couple up together, and we were able to get it done. So other than that, that and the fact that I lost my Matt Jeffery footage and had to tell Jonah Karp from Fox 61 to bail me out, bail a Syracuse brother out. Other than that, I almost had a heart attack. He was able to give it to me. It was that CIC and that was it was a great Thanksgiving. My mom was happy that was there. Went out and saw Napoleon. Not a bad movie. I'm a big Napoleon fan, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. I didn't think that was very good. But enough of that. The Thanksgiving, we are done. We have the playoffs finally set. I think we can all kind of breathe a little easier. Well, what a little time we have till we go into the postseason. But Pete, what do you think? How did the final 6 divisions shake out for you? What do you think?
There are some that are like awesome. You and I spoke on the phone on Friday, and we were like, "This division's sick," and then we looked at the other ones, and we're like, "This division is not so sick." Some of them are great. Some of them have like really good potential Final Fours, good potential champions. Some of them I don't even like want to pay attention to until we get to the finals because we know what's going to happen. Some of them have really great first round matchups that should be championship matchups, and I just think, as an outsider, something tells me that, maybe if there was only 4 divisions with these teams, every division would be pretty awesome. But I don't know if that's ever been a thought process here. But I'm just saying, looking at those, was it 48 teams in, or what is it? 40? It's not 48, 42, 48 teams in. I think if we maybe, had 4 divisions instead, I think there'd be 4 really good brackets. But here we are with, the double L game heading into Thanksgiving. I was at Staples Greenwich, and you're walking around and you're like, the loser of this game is truly the winner because they don't have to play Fairfield Prep in the first round. They get a team from not, from the CCC that's not Maloney, or Windsor. So what would you rather take? Sure, Greenwich not happy they, lost that game, but I think every team in Double L did not want to play Fairfield Prep. So Congratulations, Staples. You won on Thanksgiving. You beat Greenwich. You get Fairfield Prep. Congratulations.
Look, 100, we've said it a billion times. 4 divisions was fine. If you want to throw a 5th there, make it a co-op division, that's good. I'll take that. But this just surely shows you how the 6 divisions, we just kind of gave another 12 teams-ish or whatever it was, some playoff berths or whatever it is, 16 teams, playoff berths, and it's just like, they're 5-5 again, 4-6. Fairfield Prep becomes the first team in the history of the CIAC playoffs to go 4-6, and I'm happy for Fairfield Prep. I am not okay with that. I don't care what their schedule is. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with 5-5s. It's just, good for, there's some really weak divisions. They're going to get to call themselves state champions. Good for them. But, we've said it a billion times. We don't need 6. Again, I can go live with 5 if you make one a co-op, but we don't need 6. And
I am thrilled that Fairfield Prep made it.
Oh, I love that they made it.
I will, but if we're just looking for the best teams, they're better than East Hartford. They're better than the teams that missed out. We know that.
Yeah.
But you still have to go out there and win the games, and they only won 4 of them, and the system allows them to get in, which is something that I agree with you doesn't sit right with me either. I love the chaos. I love that it, maybe puts a little egg on the face of people. Yeah, I mean, our Instagram blew up. There were more people mad about Fairfield Prep making it in, not even because of Fairfield Prep, but because of 4 and 6 teams going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder myself, because I look at all the comments, like, where were these people when they decided to expand the playoffs a couple of years ago? Where are these people who were sitting here crying about, oh, we might not have Thanksgiving anymore? Not one person other than myself is complaining the fact that new proposal has 72 teams going to the playoffs. All everyone wants to talk about, all they want to DM me about, all they want to text me about is Thanksgiving football. I love Thanksgiving football. Don't get me wrong. But the bigger issue is that there are 72 teams making the playoffs in those 6 divisions in that new proposal. And Tinfoil had time with Pete. Thanksgiving is just a distraction. They will give you Thanksgiving back, and they will shove 8 divisions. I'm sorry, though, they will shove, 8 divisions with 12 teams each down our throats, and then we're going to be complaining about 2 and 8 teams getting in. It's 6 divisions with 12 teams.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, this is the wrong things to be complaining about.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Did anyone thought about anything other than themselves?
No, I agree. And, again, we've said it a billion times. It's not, that's not tenable. If there are not.
Yeah, but you know what? We get to see Finbar Malloy playing another game, so that's exciting. I mean, he's a junior. He's really freaking good, though. So.
There are not 48 great teams in Connecticut that deserve to go to playoffs, and there has to be something to be said. You're just nerfing the regular season. The regular season now is just a showcase, and then we
knew 38 of the 48 teams before Thanksgiving. Before I left my house at 6:00 in the morning.
Right, we only had 10 spots left going into Thanksgiving Day,
and we knew 4 and 6 Fairfield Prep was basically in.
Get
to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, let's run this whole down. Let's take a look at all the happenings that happened on Thanksgiving week. starting up Pete on Tuesday night, the big scores, it's kind of a slow run up, right? You get a couple games on Tuesday night, then you get a lot of Wednesday games, and then you get the Thursday extravaganza. Now, the Wednesday games this year solved a lot, as you just mentioned, and we only had 10 spots going into Thanksgiving morning, but there was still some pretty exciting things that happened Thursday morning. We'll get to that. But starting up at Tuesday night, the big one was Pop Rock Pete coming off the deck to beat Notre Dame Fairfield for their first winning season since 2017, 23-13 over Notre Dame Fairfield. They rallied from a 13-8 halftime deficit. Johnny Gogas had a couple TD runs. Cooper Simmons had a big 57-yard run to set up his own TD. And, hey, what can you say about Pop Rock? Great job by them. It was they won't get in. And I thought it was a very interesting quote that their coach said afterwards. He said, if we were in another division, we would have been in the playoffs. And that's just the way it is, man. Double S. Too bad you're not double S. Everybody's getting in there, or M. But hey, Pop Rock, you know what? Pat yourself on the back. You go out as winners, which is great on Thanksgiving week. So that was one game. And the other game, Tolland knocks off E.O. Smith. It was kind of a wild back and forth game. E.O. Smith doing everything it can to get in there, but Tolland beats them 31-24 to earn their first playoff spot since I think it was 2007 when they went to the state final against Seymour, that great team. So congratulations to Tolland. It was a pretty cold night. We saw our first flakes of the year too. So very interesting. Hopefully it's a good winter for us skiers.
Well, let's get past December 9th before we start wishing for snow.
Yeah, that moves us over to Wednesday night, Pete, and it was a big one. The interesting thing was Masuk got in because of that Notre Dame Pop Rock result. Masuk actually clinched a state playoff berth going in to its game versus Newtown. So the pressure's kind of off. Masuk, again, without its coaches, just the kind of the hodgepodge of coaches they have there with Nick Chacho and Jeff Lever. And they went in up there to Blue Gold Stadium, Pete, and it was the Jason Champagne show. What a season he's been having.
Yeah, he is all time. He is just he's the heart and soul of that team. He's not a rah-rah guy by any stretch, but man, they move with him, right? He's the kick returner, he's the punt returner. Obviously, he's their number one playmaker on offense, and they go. Masuk goes as he goes. I think that might be the third time I've seen him score 5 touchdowns in a game this season. He is amazing. I think 25 rushing touchdowns this year, 28 touchdowns overall. Kid is a stud, and he really makes it go. Look, it's great to see Rob Klein back out there. I know he's been back for a couple of weeks. Clearly, obviously, he's not 100% back from his injury, but having him out there is great. But as long as they can move the line with Champagne behind it and creating holes for Champagne, they're going to be great. The defense had a handful of words for me on the sideline after towards the end of the Newtown game, because apparently I said, I don't even remember what I really said about their defense. Let's be honest here, I don't really remember 80% of the things I say on the show. But apparently I said that their defense didn't play well. Look, I saw them give up 50 points to a Class S school in Bloomfield. Sorry I didn't have a little bit of faith, but they played really well against Newtown, made some big plays. Newtown was able to move the ball, but Masuk's defense bent. They didn't break. They made some key plays. They look good. They're going to have their hands full in the first round, but we're not going to jump ahead.
Yeah. Well, Champagne's 5 touchdowns. They got blown out last year in that game, and this was a good kind of last time he plays Newtown. Champagne showed out, and I love that he was showing off his ring finger this year.
It was his only celebration. He scored 4 of the touchdowns. He just flipped the ball. I'm like, dude, I can't leave until I get a really cool Sally. So then he started doing and if for my NFL fans, Patrick Mahomes did that last season. I think he was voted the 8th best player in the NFL by the players and whatever. And he threw 5 touchdowns in a game, and he just sat there and he was 1, 2, and he counted all the way to 8. So that was kind of a baller move by Jason.
42-20, man. Woo, that was a mission statement there by Masuk, which goes now all the way up to number 2 in the Class MM standings, they got the number 2 seed. And Newtown did not lose a home game in Class L, but they got a tough one to start off. An old friend visiting Blue and Gold Stadium on Tuesday night. The other big games on Wednesday night out in the Shoreline, Guilford. We talked about them the last few weeks. SEC Tier 3, Brian White trying to get them into their first state playoff berth since he was a freshman in 1993. Pete, Guilford came out like gangbusters. They looked like they were a team with a purpose. They were up 12-7 at halftime. They were pushing Hand up and down the field. 277 yards of total offense compared to Hand's 136. But when it came down to crunch time, Guilford was fumbling the ball. That was a big problem in this game. They should have been up maybe 2 more touchdowns at halftime, but they fumbled twice inside the 20-yard line. And Hand, sensing it had an opportunity here to really kind of correct its mistakes, came out in the second half and came to life. Jack Shea hit Quentin O'Day to put Hand up for good to start the second half. Then he hit Aiden Dolan, who had another great game. He had a great game against the Grizzlies last year for a 21-yard TD pass in the third quarter, 23-12. And you could just sense the momentum had all been sucked away from Guilford. Dolan finishes with 3 of his 4 touchdowns in the second half. And Hand clinches the Class M first seed. And I said beware, but, I should say Hand, we better clean some stuff up, man, because you guys, as much as we said, listen, I'm going to win the state championship, they, of all teams, got a tough game in the first round against none other than St. Joseph. The 2 teams that nobody wanted in Class M are actually playing each other with a chance to knock each other off in Class M, so that'll be fascinating. And, what can you say about Guilford? They needed that game badly, but they still had a second chance to maybe squeak into the playoffs. Listen, they finished 8-2, but that SEC Tier 3 schedule did them no favors. Up in Durham, just up the road in Durham, North Branford. How many chances did North Branford get toward the end of the season? Needing a win to get in the Class S playoffs for first-year coach Anthony Salvati, the former Guilford coach, going up against our pals from Coggins, who really
you're really throwing that word "pal" around real loosely.
Not friends of the program. They've kind of sick of hearing it from us, and all they do is chirping at us online and afterwards. But what a game they had. We've been poking them all year with a stick, but somebody, we kept saying, beat somebody, guys, beat somebody. We can't get excited about your team yet. Can't get excited. You lost to Morgan Co-op. They got blown out by them. They got blown out by Carmel Portland. But hey, listen, North Branford's not bad, and when they needed a win, they got a big one there at under the portable lights at their home field. Jake Manning scored 3 touchdowns, including a 72-yard kickoff return in the second quarter as the Blue Devils just smoked the T-Birds under the portable lights at home, 42-21, completing the comeback. Now, this is the impressive thing. They were 1-9 last year, and they get a new head coach, former assistant Anthony DeFilio, and they go turning around. Granted, the schedule was not as tough maybe as some of the Pequot teams, but that turnaround, 1-9 to 8-2 into the playoffs. We give them a lot of grief here, but you know what? You play who's in front of you. They had nothing. They could not control that. And hiccups aside, they did a great job. So you got to give a little props to Coggins for getting the playoff. They are the number 2 seed in Class Double S, and another tough game to start. But you know what? Props. They deserve a little props.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of credit to them. That's a huge win. A friend of mine played for Coggins Vinyl Tech years ago. When they were a co-op, he was texting me all about them. It's a great win for them. North Branford has burned me another time where they're going to have to earn it back for me. They're such a good team and great coaching staff. Just maybe I'm bad luck for them, but that was a winnable game for them, and Coggins just absolutely didn't even make it close. So. Good job for the Blue Devils. Congratulations. You clearly know how to get in contact with us now. You did it all on Wednesday night. So in August, when we're doing the previews and you realize that your team doesn't have one yet, please reach out to those channels where you said some very interesting things to us. Yeah. You know how to get in contact with us, so please respond when we send out previews next year. Thank you.
We did not hear from them in the preseason, and we had to kind of throw something together, but we sent our previous stuff out, and we really kind of depend on everybody sending us stuff
We're
back.
very easy to get in contact with, clearly.
So North Branford needed to win to get in. They couldn't pull it off. They end their season 5-5. The other team that was next in line to Pete was Woodland, but they got demolished 34-14 against Seymour to drop out of the race. So that kind of opened the door up for Morgan's Old Saybrook Westbrook, which Kevin Sullivan, we had him on the podcast earlier. He thought he was done. he's sitting there grumbling to himself, how did we, we're clearly good enough to be in the playoffs. And I said, you better start, brushing up on your Ansonia film, coach, because you guys are in. I started texting him, you're in, man. And he couldn't quite believe it. But when we did the math on Wednesday night, sure enough, Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook, remember they combined forces this year. We're not playing on Thanksgiving because they used to be rivals on Thanksgiving. They had decided they were going into the Class S playoff. That left basically one spot left, and it was going to come down to Stonington winning, getting against Westerly. Otherwise, we couldn't figure out who was going to get that. That left a spot open in Class S going to Thanksgiving morning. But the overall big result, the one that we were all paying attention to, was at Ken Strong Stadium, Pete, where Fairfield Prep, we did the math, winners of 3 straight after starting 0-6, went into Ken Strong Stadium, and could they possibly beat big bad West Haven on their own turf and become the first losing team to qualify with a losing record at 4-6? And because West Haven had so many points available, and because Class AA is so weak, the possibility existed for them to get in. They knew it. And you know what, Pete? They came up with a tremendous effort in a 21-14 takedown of West Haven at Ken Strong Stadium. They only allowed 7 points in the second half. The other West Haven touchdown was on a 99-yard pick six by Corin Harris. But despite that, Kyler Smith came up big with 167-yard pass and 2 scores. And Fairfield Prep's defense, which has frankly been pretty good all year, given the fact that its offense does not help out. The offense has been the big problem with Prep. Even with some of the great guys they have, the offense has been the problem. But the defense, Pete, stepping up, especially in that second half. West Haven had several chances in the fourth quarter to tie the score. They had 4th down at the Prep 8, but Prep stopped Nick Collins short of a first down with 6 minutes left. And then PJ Cirilli picked off Collins to stop the last legitimate drive. And Prep, at 4-6, we figured it out, just needed one more game to go their way on Thanksgiving morning, and that would be it. And it was either Greenwich to win, it was North Haven to beat Amity, which was kind of like the one we were all looking at. They just got that one game. And Cheshire was the other one, beating Southington. If they got that one game, that they would be in the state playoffs. So Prep in at 4-6, the first one with a losing record. Their reward, a rematch at Staples Paul Lane Field, where they won a thriller last year, 23-22. I was at that game. Remember, John Morris tipped Caleb Smith, passed away at the end zone, and the field goal was well short, wide left. And now Staples is the number 1 seed, looking for a little payback. But first, Staples, in order to get that number 1 seed, had to get by number 1 and rival Greenwich at Cardinal Stadium on Thanksgiving morning. And that takes us, Pete, to Thanksgiving morning. 10 spots remaining after Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook, Holy Cross also backing in from the NVL in Class M. And that takes us to Thursday morning, and it was a beautiful day out, great Thanksgiving weather. And what happened in your game? Greenwich, the number 1 team in the state, looking for a number 1 seed, defending Class AA champions. Last year, this year, what happened?
It was a very block game, if we're going to be completely honest. Obviously, 2 top 5 teams with a lot of talent all over the field. Really just long drives. It didn't look like either team was really showing much. These are 2 teams that could clearly meet in the playoffs with a lot bigger stakes on the line. But, Greenwich gets the ball, start the game, goes all the way down the field, takes like 6-7 minutes off the clock. Staples defense, big stop on 4th and goal from the 3. That was a theme throughout the entire game. Staples defense came up huge on short yard plays all day. I think they maybe caused 3 or 4 turnovers on downs against Greenwich. Staples then, couple of runs, 3rd down, Caleb Smith breaks through. 1 pass gets him a little bit further, and then a 69-yard touchdown to Max Marullo. He's a name definitely going to remember. He had a great Thanksgiving. Staples goes up 7-0. Greenwich comes back, ties the game. Later in the second half, we go into the half 7-7. It was on an Ian Kim 4-yard run, 7-7. Again, it was a very quick game. I mean, you and I were talking yesterday, my game was so fast. I honestly didn't feel like many of them, they wanted to kind of get in and out and see what Tuesday looked like, and they didn't want to show much. Well, in the second half, Caleb Smith, 2 rushing touchdowns, and Max with a field goal. and an interception to bring them inside the 5, where Caleb Smith put the game away with his second rushing touchdown. Staples clinched the number 1 seed, and granted, again, tinfoil hat Pete here, where if you won the game, did you really win the game? Well, according to Staples, they want Fairfield Prep.
Is there a little bit of you that you guys wanted Prep, huh?
Of course. I mean, the only team to really knock us out this last year and is Prep. And, I mean, going out there, we got them in football and we lost to them. Then we went out there in the lacrosse season and we got them. So I know we're going to be going after each other. It's a great rivalry and can't wait to have them over on Tuesday.
I mean, to be honest, we said it before. We knew that we had prepared more. We had done more from the end of last year to now. All of our guys have put in countless hours into their craft and everything they're doing. I mean, and it showed. I mean, this is a big game, biggest game we've had all year, and came out on top.
You guys got the number 1 seed in Class Double. Well,
Yep.
congratulations.
Thank
Your
you.
reward
Yep.
is Fairfield Prep.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I mean, you get a rematch, we get the chance, we get a shot at them again, which, you know, I've been wanting for the longest time. We had the shot at them in lacrosse, beat them in lacrosse, and now we get the shot at them in football. So it's going to be a fun one. Can't wait.
So Staples wanted that game. They wanted to face Fairfield Prep. All right. Hey, listen. Fairfield ripped their hearts out last year.
I think with the result of it being Prep, I think that they're excited for that. But I think on any other level, they would have taken anyone else in that field. But yeah, it was a weird game. I think I told you that off air. Like it was just a weird game. Like I don't think either team played to their best ability. And I think that we're going to see 2 different looking teams on Tuesday.
Yeah, you think maybe they just didn't want to show all the cards, huh?
I don't think so. I think either way, right? I mean, going into the game,
it didn't matter if you won or lost, right? I mean, if you win, you face Prep, probably.
Yeah.
If you lose, maybe you get
if Greenwich wins, Staples is the 3, so they're not going to play into the finals. And if Staples won and Greenwich lost, Staples the 1, Greenwich is the 2. They're not playing for the finals. So I think for either of them, it was. I don't think they had to show their cards. They were going anyway. They both had home games. They were both were going to be on opposite sides of the bracket no matter what. See, maybe you guys get together in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Who am I kidding?
Yeah. So I thought I sent you after that game. I said, Pete, you should go to that game. It's always a great game. Last year it was a classic. You know, I was at a classic 2 years ago. And we were all talking like this is turning into the best rivalry. It used to be New Canaan, Darien. Now that one's kind of fizzled a little bit lately, but Greenwich Staples was right up there. You know what game though, Pete, has been pretty good over the last few years, and it's a game that I've been going to a lot lately. It is the Apple Valley Classic, and that was the game. Now like Guilford lost, Benell probably going to beat Stratford, so it was a do or die time for Cheshire. If they win, they were in. If not, it was going to be Guilford. And Brian White in attendance. He said the night before he was going to show up with a blue S painted on his face. He didn't do that, but he did show up with his son. Wanted to see whether his team was going to get a chance. The big question going into the game, Pete, was, would Matt Jeffery play? Now, it's been the question all season long. What's wrong? I think he played September, had a great September, won some big games. Shelton comes to mind. Fairfield Prep comes to mind, 14-0 in the rain. But since that Fairfield Prep game, he's been limited, if not absent, because of his hamstring injury going down the stretch. Famously, they lost the North Haven game at North Haven 24-7. They also lost their starting quarterback in that game. And then the next week you saw them against West Haven. Gave a pretty good effort with Gonzalez. Listen, Jeffrey Gonzalez has been great. And so has been Evan Russo in that defense. They've been playing well, but it's just the wheels look like they were starting to fall off Cheshire. And now with 2 straight losses, they were number 2 in the polls, 2 straight losses, and they were in danger of being completely left out of a pretty tough Class Double M field. Need to beat Southington for the first time since 2011. Well, here we go at Fontana Field, where we're starting off this young man, Logan Gillis, singing the national anthem for this packed crowd on hand. Nice job. Gets a little thanks from Coach Mike Drury of Southington student. So his mom was there. It was an awesome rendition. The first good sign for Cheshire was Jeffrey was in uniform and out for the opening coin toss, and apparently he knew 2 weeks ago after the West Haven game that he was going to be ready to go. He was not going to have it any other way. But it took him a little while to get back into the flow of the game, and Cheshire kind of kept him out. They put him on defense. Southington early struck first on a TD run by Rashard Williams, who's had a great season, 6-0. Cheshire was clearly struggling to move the ball on offense, really tentative about throwing the ball downfield with their sophomore quarterback, Aiden Grigorich. But the Rams got a huge break when a punt is touched and rolls all the way down to the Southington 1, where it's recovered, and Matt Jeffery, now in the backfield, scores easily. The extra point by A.J. Loria puts the Rams ahead 7-6. Late in the first half, Cheshire hit with a really suspect pass interference penalty. They were screaming at the refs, Thrust going nuts. But that set up a 16-yard touchdown pass. C.J. DiBenedetto to Rashard Williams again and put Southington up 13-7 at the break. On second viewing, it looked like Williams might have dropped the ball as he was coming down and trapped it, but nevertheless, it's ruled complete. Southington up 13-7 at the break. Second half, Jeffrey Gonzalez busts through the line for a 42-yard run to set up Matt Jeffrey's second touchdown now from 4 yards out. XP, however, no good, and we are all tied 13-13. Southington responds with what turned out to be their last touchdown drive of the game. Evan Anderson, who had a great game with 7 catches, hauled in this beaut of a pass from DiBenedetto on 4th and 10 from the 30, and Southington goes up 20-13. Cheshire trying to respond. They pulled out their old reverse flea flicker pass, the same play you saw against Shelton P, and Grigorich has got Liam Suamala wide open, but it's just off his fingertips. Oh, man, tough spot. No worries for Cheshire, however. Southington gets hit with a personal foul. Grigorich and then Gonzalez run for first down to set up Gonzalez with the Tim Tebow jump pass to junior Colin Sheehan, and we are all tied up at 20-20 late in the third quarter. But on the ensuing kickoff, Cheshire, which had been scribbing the ball all day just to keep it away from Williams, manages to corral this, but he fumbles the ball, covered by Tommy Wilkinson. Rams back in business at the Southington 32. Then Grigorich finds Lucas Chimborg wide open for the 32-yard touchdown, and whoa, baby, look at this. Cheshire puts 20 on the board in the third quarter and takes a 27-20 lead into the last 12 minutes. And then it's Jeffrey time. Rams trying to run out the clock. But Southington gets the ball back at its own 20 with 4 minutes left. And after picking up the first down, Jeffrey swoops in, picks off DiBenedetto for his second interception of the game. And on the very next play goes 25 yards for pay dirt, 34-20 Cheshire. And just to make the point that I'm back, baby, he does it again, picking off DiBenedetto one last time. And Cheshire, by goodness, with about as big a win ever in Don Druss's career as head coach there. Just absolutely euphoric afterwards. Everyone's hugging and crying and cheering. And Cheshire makes the Class AA playoffs, beats Southington for the first time since 2011. And what can you say about Matt Jeffery? A week after he visited South Bend, where he will apparently play football and lacrosse for the Irish, he got the go-ahead to play in this game, and afterward he talked about his comeback effort and what this team has meant to him and all his players. They were not going to lose to Southington. As long as he could help it, they were not going to lose to Southington in this game with a shot to go to the playoffs on the line.
This year's been a lot of ups and downs for our team, but, we hold our ground here. And, coming out this week, we prepared real well. We didn't know if I was go until the game day. And, I was feeling great in warm-ups. They put me out there, and, it was good to fly around, feel back and ready in action. And, I couldn't be more proud of these guys. These guys are my family. These guys are my friends. I couldn't change it for the world.
When did you actually feel like, man, I'm in this game?
I felt like I was in this game since the start of the week. We've been preparing for it for a week and a half, and this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to break the ice. We wanted to be that team that beat Southington after all these years. We wanted to be that team that wins that state championship after all these years. We preached this since the beginning of the season, and I don't think these guys ever lost out in that.
How's it feel like going to the playoffs? It was ride or die for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's the way we want it. We want the pressure. I think we strive under pressure, and we wouldn't want it anywhere else. And coming out here with the game on the line, you got to play if you're a baller. So the ball is played, and we came out with that victory, and that's what we like to do.
And afterwards, we spoke to Don Truss, who was just delirious. You can see Christine, his wife, Christine, the softball coach out there. She was crying, just so happy. 3 years ago, somebody somewhere wanted him out, and they found out that he had not updated his coaching certificate. It was a little bit of a clerical error, and it looked like they were going to toss him out because of that, which is just ridiculous. I mean, it sounds familiar. You know, you just look around some of the coaching situations going on here. But it was a clerical error. He got reinstated, and it was during the pandemic. And, back-to-back playoff berth now for Cheshire. Jeffrey back. I mean, what can you say about the Rams right now, Pete?
I mean, if you've covered Coach Drust and you know he's very emphatic, very emotional after games, especially big games. Obviously, last year, Thanksgiving, right, it came down. They lost, and it came down. You sitting with him and the coaching staff breaking it down. I was at their upset win against St. Joe's, the Matt Jeffery show part 1 in the quarterfinals last year. I mean, this guy, he just loves being around his guys, and I'm sure he had some quote about just wanting, 3 more days with his kids. But, I mean, I'll tell you, it would have been a real shame if they did not get in. This team is really talented, despite the injuries. Mm-hmm. Matt Jeffery he is so important to that team. The way he can just change the game on both sides of the ball, all 3 facets of the ball. Before he was hurt, he was even contributing on special teams. I mean, he is a special player. If anyone's going to be able to play 2 ways, 2 different Division I sports in college, it's going to be Matt Jeffery. And the fact he's going to do it at Notre Dame is pretty incredible. And Don, I mean, getting them to the playoffs for 2 years in a row, I'm sure is great. And for that person or those people from 3 years ago, hopefully it shuts them up. But, man, I'm sure they would like it. Maybe clinch week 11 next year. Yeah. Having it come down to Thanksgiving morning, I'm sure, adds a couple of more grays a little earlier. But they are one of the best teams. It would have been real weird to see them go as 7-0, the number 2 team in the state, to 7-3 and out of the playoffs because they play in a tough division while other teams don't.
Yeah. No, that's a very important point to make. And afterward, here's Druss, actually, who, by the way, does not want to play this game on Columbus Day. Here he is about the Southington Cheshire rivalry.
This is for you personally, though, this has been a big one for you, huh?
I think this is big for our town. It's not about me. This is about our program in our town. And again, I think it's about the 2 towns. There's a tremendous amount of passion and care for football in both towns. You cross that line on Route 10 and you can feel the change from red to blue. Going both ways. And it's 2 communities that care. They care. They have passion for their towns. They have passion for each other, and they care about each other. And when you combine 2 towns and put them on a football field like that, you get tremendous football games. And that's what this is about. That's what Thanksgiving is about. It's about games like this. It's about experiences like this. And I'm sure they would tell you the same thing. For the last 10 years, it was about that experience for their guys. I'm just really proud and really happy for my guys that they get to feel that.
You're not a Columbus Day guy then.
What's that?
You're not a Columbus Day guy then, right?
No. God, no.
Okay,
so no.
You can almost hear the music in the background, like the music, the rolling credits after he makes his big speech. I just gotta be so happy for him. I was happy for Christine. I know he's been through a lot. Even this year has been through a lot. You could just see that the season was starting to weigh on after the Cheshire game. He just didn't want to answer to me. He goes, "Look, I know our guys got it in, and we can do this." And I got to say one thing, though. We talk a lot about Jeffrey here, but you know what? That third quarter, everybody played a part. Gonzalez played a part. Scheinbar played a part. Grigorich played a part. Everybody did their part. You know what? Some guy, you miss a pass or you miss a block or a play doesn't go your way. The team picked each other up. And like you said, man, that's going to be a tough out. They go now all the way up to Masuk, another team with turmoil. It's been turmoil all season with Masuk. And it's been turmoil for a different reason at Cheshire. It's the Turmoil Bowl at Benedict Field on Tuesday night. Be there at B Square. It's going to be a fascinating game. If you want to see Matt Jeffery play, I highly suggest you check that out. And also the guy on the other side of the field, Champagne. So that was a great performance. Speaking of great performances, the other big game on Thursday was the one over at Jarvis Field in Ansonia. Naugatuck, 9-0. Ansonia, 9-0. The Valley Classic. No playoffs on the line, just top seeds, really. Maybe even for Naugatuck more than Ansonia. And it turned into the Jett Hall show. Jett Hall ran for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns on 33 carries. And while taking many of the snaps himself, he also caught 2 touchdown passes from Ethan Jones. He etched his name into Valley lore in this game. People couldn't stop talking about what a job he did. Tom Brockett called him the best player in the state. Chris Anderson said he's a generational player. Ansonia's 22-win streak goes down in flames. Naugatuck with its second win in 3 years, both at Jarvis Stadium. Just an all-time great performance. And afterwards, here's Jett Hall talking about the great victory.
After the first play long run touchdown, we didn't let that bring us down. We were like, we know this is how the game's going to be played. So next drive, we just came out hard and playing good football.
And good for them, man. He missed all, as we remember, he missed a good portion of last year. He came into this year. They all said, listen, watch out for this kid. He's going to be great. And he put in just a performance for the ages. Naugatuck takes the number 1 seed in Class L now. Ansonia also number 1 seed in Class S. But now, Pete, it comes down to what's going to happen with Naugatuck. Can Naugatuck win its first playoff game since winning the state championship in 1993? I think they're 0-6 since then, sporadically.
0-7.
They're 0-7 since then. And they lost at New Canaan last year. Now they got a home game, though, where they got to play Darien. That'll be fun.
Look, there's been no bigger fan of Jett Hall in this state than me for the last 2.5 years. All right, this kid, unbelievable talent. Obviously, I saw him against Holy Cross this past year, but obviously the year before, he had a great end to his sophomore year. And his performance, he was already obviously a consideration for, game time register all state. He still obviously is. But this brings up a real tough question, Sean. If Naugatuck can't beat Darien, where does the NVL sit in terms of power in the state? Look, Naugatuck handled Ansonia, and Jett Hall had an all-time performance, let's be honest here. But other than Ansonia, Naugatuck hasn't played anybody. Other than Naugatuck, Ansonia hasn't played anybody. And if Naugatuck, as the 1 seed, the only undefeated team in the state, loses to Darien in the first round, I think the days of voting for an NVL team in the top 10 poll are over. Unless something changes, it just doesn't seem like the league is... The glory days might be gone in the NVL, and I hope I'm wrong. I love going to those games at Jarvis, at Naugatuck, at Municipal with Holy Cross and Woodland. I love all those games. But if Naugatuck lays an egg in the first round of the playoffs again... Now, again, Naugatuck not only hasn't won a playoff game since 1993, they haven't won a playoff game since the CIAC expanded it past 2 teams.
Right, yeah, that's correct.
So they can't beat anyone outside of the NVL. So if Naugatuck can't win this game against Darien, I think the NVL is in massive trouble. And looking at it like it's no better than some of the other conferences that we look at that aren't in the same top enchilada, top whatever of talent. It's really interesting, man. That was such a dominant win by Naugatuck, and that's great. But I think it raises a lot of red flags about that conference.
Yeah, well, listen, they're a Class L school, and there are Class Double L's teams in there. They're just happen to be all the Waterbury schools, and the Waterbury schools, they haven't been great, So it's a small school conference, or an L and mostly a small school conference. So it might. It's not helping them. Let's put it that way. Not helping them. So, but hey, they're a lot of pressure on on Naugatuck right now. Darien's ripe for the plucking. They're an 8 seed. They're still Darien. This is a big spot for them. So no pressure, guys. So that was pretty much it. A few big games to just take a quick look at from Thanksgiving morning that decided the playoffs. Stanford getting in for the first time since 1995 with their 35-6 victory over West Hill. Sheehan getting in 44-6 over Lyman Hall. The Titans, as we needed them to do, have clinched in Class Double S. Bunnell did defeat Stratford 49-0 to win that game to get the last spot in Double M and steal away from Guilford. They also had Barlow, defending champions, beating up on Weston to punch their tickets to get to the playoffs. Stonington did lose to Westerly 51-30 and allowed Waterbury Career Academy, the last thing anybody thought about in Class S, to squeak in to become the first Waterbury public school. Now, granted, it's like they do a lottery there for that, but they're still the first Waterbury public school to qualify for a state playoff berth in Class S. We all thought it was going to be Kennedy, but Kennedy, like you kind of just mentioned here, did not get enough points to usurp Fairfield Prep there. And actually the last team out in Class AA was East Hartford, which, played well, but couldn't stop many teams. And they even beat Manchester to kind of put themselves into position toward late in the year. But Manchester also got in. So here we are with the 2023 state playoffs, 6 state titles up for grabs. 5 of the defending champions are back. The only one who's not is Notre Dame West Haven, which got bumped to double L and then didn't have a great season. Actually got upset by Hamden, or I don't know if it's an upset, but the Hamden rallied to win that game and scored late to win the Green Bowl. They'll be getting the green jerseys next year. But here we are, Pete, where we have reached the postseason, and now it's time to take a look at what we got here and start making the picks.
This is the portion of the show where you would flip over the cassette tape. Was it? Flip to the B side of the cassette tape?
Yeah. Yeah, for you.
Was that the Led Zeppelin album?
No,
they had that right at the end.
You know who did that? Tom Petty did that for Full Moon.
Tom Petty. Yeah.
He said, I remember I had the CD of Full Moon Fever, and he goes, those of you with cassettes or records, in fairness to those listeners, we're going to take a few moments as they get up to flip the record.
It's still on the out. Like when you listen to when you stream like the album, it still has that that thing at the end. Yeah.
I wonder if I'm a big vinyl guy. I love vinyl.
No, I didn't know that. You haven't spoken about that.
Big time. And I don't have Full Moon Fever. I do have Wildflowers, but I don't have Full Moon Fever. And I wonder if he does that. I mean, why would you on the vinyl?
Yeah,
kind of defeats the purpose. Why would you say that? But he's great. But anyway, so yeah, let's get to the picks, Pete. We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna start up. I guess we're gonna do bottom up and we're gonna take a look at each division and discuss its merits, its goods and bads, and who we like. Are we gonna pick state champions here? Right?
I think maybe we go through the first round first, and then maybe we pick who we think who's gonna win So we'll go through S. We'll pick our first round games, and then maybe we pick who we think will win it all.
Works for me, man. Let's take us there. How about I did not have a good day. The standings. Oh my God. I was right in position there. I'm only a game back and did not do well.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was all over the place. A lot of people didn't do well. Carl only got 8 right. Which I love you, Carl. Not great. And Will Alden went 15-5. He had the best week. But a lot of us sat in that 13-7, 12-8 range.
I was 11.
There were some great upsets. Weaver won for the first time. Meyer was the only one who picked Prep. Only a handful of people had Coggenshaw. A lot of people had Ansonia. Go Naugatuck. A lot of people had Southington. A lot of people had Hartford Public. A lot of people had Bristol Eastern. And Bristol Central won. So a handful of those had Trumbull. So there was a lot of quote-unquote upsets maybe in terms of the picks, but which is great because everyone's kind of still in the running here. And we're picking 24 games this week. So
let's start at the bottom and move up. Class S. Here it is. The number 1 seed is Ansonia. They are 9-1 despite their loss to Naugatuck. They will play Waterbury Career Academy in the 8th, their fellow NVL team, which basically backed into the playoffs at 6-4 when everyone else just could not win that last game, including Stonington in the Western League. But this is a rematch, Pete, of the game that I actually saw. Remember that? I went all the way up to because they were playing on a Saturday. I hadn't seen Ansonia yet. I decided to go up and see him. And Ansonia won that game pretty easily, 35-0. Great guy by Mackay Ingram. We didn't actually talk about the Chargers much following that Naugatuck loss, but Mackay Ingram and Sean Richards both hurt. I think Aiden Mercer also hurt as well. So we'll see what their situation is. But, Ansonia kind of licking its wounds as it goes into the playoffs here. They're facing Waterbury Career Academy. And the second part of that top bracket, you have number 4 Cromwell, Portland, 8-2. They're back in Class S. Last year, if you recall, they were in Double S. They are playing Griswold Wheeler, the ECC Division 2 champions, which wrapped up their season with a big win over Plainfield, 9-1. It's interesting to me that they're 9-1 because they didn't play anybody and get any points against Cromwell Portland, which 8-2 and did get some points. In the bottom half of the bracket, you have Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook. Now, I guess I was wrong, Kevin. You're playing Bloomfield. You got to deal with the Twins now. Bloomfield's had a week to think about their big loss to Windsor. I'm sure they are just, anxious to get back on the field and prove themselves. They got smoked by Windsor the weekend before Thanksgiving. So they're in the number 2 seed. And number 3 seed, our guy Matt McGuire in Oxford, and Antoine Davis and our guys at Notre Dame Fairfield. Fascinating. They started the season off 7-0, and now they have sunk to the 6th seed. But I don't know. I think they like that spot there at number 6. I like their chances at Oxford, perhaps, and we'll see what happens. They play either Ansonia or Bloomfield, I suppose. But so there you go. That is the Class S bracket, Pete.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this could have a really good semifinal. I think there are 4 really good teams in this bracket, and I would love to see them all advance to the semifinals.
Hit 'em up,
All right, so starting at the top, we got, like you mentioned, Waterbury Career Academy going on the road to Ansonia. For all the reasons that we talk about Ansonia and this and the NVL, I'm going with Ansonia. This one's a slam dunk, easy pick for me. Sean, who do you like?
Ansonia all the way. They beat them the first time, so what's the difference this time?
Yeah. And then we're going to go to Pearson Park. Obviously, Griswold Wheeler on the road to play Cromwell Portland. Funny enough, I saw Griswold Wheeler at a scrimmage back in August at Vinyl Tech. And guess who was there in attendance? Randall Bennett and a couple of his coaches. So, I mean, we were talking most of the time, so I don't know how much Griswold Wheeler they watched. Because, you know me, yap. But this one, again, is another easy one for me. Cromwell Portland semifinal rematch from 2021. I'm all about it. Who do you got, Sean?
I'm going to go with Cromwell Portland here. I think their schedules have been a little bit better, and they've been a little bit better. You know, Griswold, I like. You know, but the ECC Division II team, Division II teams have been kind of a little suspect when you get out. I mean, I just saw Wyndham get just absolutely obliterated by by New Fairfield in that makeup game just a week or so ago. So, and Griswold also beat Wyndham, but I don't know about the ECC Division II. I'm going to go with Cromwell Portland.
All right. Staying, another NVL team at a home game. Notre Dame Fairfield's going to Oxford. It's Oxford's first time going to the playoffs. Congrats to Coach Stock. Matt McGuire, one of our favorite players to watch. You know, he's going to go down in history. One of the best players in Oxford history. But unfortunately for them, their season ends here. Notre Dame Fairfield is just too athletic. They are too good. They are now playing with teams that are their size. And I think this, like we saw with Sheehan back in 2019, I think this is going to heavily benefit the Lancers. And I'm going with Notre Dame Fairfield here, and I might be going with Notre Dame Fairfield the whole way. Who do you got, Sean?
Yeah, Oxford. It looked like Oxford struggled to put Derby away in that game. That game was no gimme whatsoever, and that's a little bit of a warning sign for me. I'm going to go with Notre Dame Fairfield.
All right, and the last game
Great
in
season,
S.
Oxford.
Yeah. Last game in S, we've talked about it. MSW Co-op going on the road. They got Bloomfield, Kerr, Foster, Davion Paul. I mean, Bloomfield is loaded and talented. They beat Masuk this year. Obviously, an injured Masuk who was missing their quarterback in the second half. This is a great season for Morgan, MSW, Jack Nye, our guy. Coach Sullivan was on the show, but they couldn't beat Bloomfield with Andrew Nye, who's our first-team All-State quarterback. They're not beating Bloomfield this time. I'm going with the Warhawks.
Yeah, good job by Morgan to get here, get into the state playoff spot. I mean, Jack Nye has been obviously great for them. You know, he's been he had a massive game a few weeks ago against Valley. There was a back-and-forth game, but that Valley team, basically will finish 1-9, and that was a back-and-forth game. Morgan now has got to play at Bloomfield, Phil Rubin Stadium. Ugh, that's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go with the Hawks.
All right. Do you like a team in S? Do you want to go out on a limb and pick a team here that might be your favorite to win?
Oh, man, Pete. I'm worried about Ansonia with the injuries of Mekhi Ingram and Sean Richards. Bloomfield, though, tends to implode, man, when things start not going in their way. I mean, I like Bloomfield coming out of this. I like a Bloomfield-Ansonia rematch in Class S. And that said, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think they'll get their act together, and they'll win this game. And they'll win this bracket.
I'm going to go Notre Dame Fairfield.
Wow.
I think they play in a much better conference than both Ansonia and Bloomfield. I think they're a little bit more battle-tested than both of them. Yeah, Bloomfield played Windsor. Windsor's a really good team, and you're going to see what I'm going to pick with Windsor in a couple of minutes. But Windsor controlled that game entirely. Yeah, Bloomfield beat Masuk. They also allowed, close to 50 points against Masuk in, quarter and one drive. So I don't know. I like Notre Dame Fairfield here. I think they're much more battle tested than any other team in this division, and I think it will benefit them. All right, Sean, you ready to go to Class Double S?
Number 1, Granby Canton playing Watertown in the first round. Number 4, Tolland playing Gilbert Northwest, Housatonic 6-4. Coggachog, our pals, 8-2, getting the number 2 seed. They get defending champion Barlow at 6-4 coming out of here, but they're at number 7. Number 3 is Wyndham against Sheehan, Paul Gorey, and Rasachi and the guys over, and Faraz at Sheehan. Pete, this bracket, everyone said this is the ugly stepchild bracket of the all 6 of them, and with a 5-5, a bunch of 6-4s, it is the poster boy for why we shouldn't have 6 divisions. But hey, here we are, Class Double S. What do you think?
I think if we moved Sheehan and Barlow to S, that would be a sick division.
How about M? I think those are more M schools than S. What do you think? No?
No, Sheehan won an S title, so I'm going to lean maybe Sheehan to S and Barlow to M.
Yeah, okay. Again, this is like the best. Yeah, this is like the teams that are left over from M, the scraps from M and S, basically.
The good thing is that this is kind of wide open if you're on the top part of the bracket. I think any of those 4 teams could get to the finals in the top part of the bracket. I think the bottom part of the bracket goes through Richard Kelly Field, and the defending champs are going to have their say.
Yeah. All right.
So if you're the 1, 8, 4, 5 seed, you're thrilled that you don't have to play Sheehan or Barlow until you get to the finals.
Fair enough. All right.
I showed you where I am, but Watertown, Granby Canton, obviously the first game, 8-1. I mean, Watertown, you got here, you're 5-5. I've said my piece about the NVL. I think the bottom of the NVL is not as good as the top of the Pequot, and I'm super concerned about the top of the NVL myself. So I'm going to go with Granby Canton here. I think they win their first playoff game as a co-op, or in Granby history, or in Canton history. Either way, Granby's going to win this one. Sean, who do you like?
Watertown actually does play in the upper division of the NVL, so it's a 5-5 record in the upper division, which is the Ansonias and the Naugatucks of the world, and good for them getting in. But Granby Canton has been one of those teams that we've seen them a lot. They're very good. I'm going with the Bears. The Bears.
All right, staying to that top part, Gilbert Northwest Housatonic, better known as GNH, on the road to Tolland. Now, remember last year, GNH went up to Wyndham and knocked off the Whippets last year in a somewhat surprising game. Freddie Camp obviously balled out. Freddie Camp's not there anymore, but you still got some players left over from that team, including Nolan Reisdorf, the quarterback. Holland, Alex Backus, his first year back as a coach, got him in the playoffs. This, for me, was a coin flip. I'm going with GNH here. Gilbert, they won a playoff game last year. They went on the road to win a playoff game last year. A lot of guys back. So I'm going to go with the Tria from the registered citizen area.
Pete, I'm going to go with Tolland. I kind of feel like this is my mea culpa pick. I remember I picked them to lose to Seymour 49-0, and I think Alex Backus was on that team.
I believe he was a sophomore.
He was a sophomore on that team. And I remember their coach just was not happy with me. And, you're Sean. Oh, yeah. And they actually gave Seymour a run. They surprised me. I think it was 34 to, I was like 41 to 34.
44-34, yeah.
44-34, there it is. 44-34, great game. And that was against a really good Seymour team. It's kind of over a sentimental pick. It's a little mea culpa. I mean, even A.J. Cady, whose father was the coach, if you remember, and he died of cancer just, a year or so ago, or 2 years ago. Before, and they played for him. They almost got to the playoffs. Who was your boy in that team?
Ryan Carlson.
Ryan Carlson. So a little bit more of a sentimental pick. I kind of root for Tom a little bit. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
All right. Speaking of Wyndham, they play host to Sheehan. Great Wyndham. Malachi Fowler's our guy. They lost so many players to graduation after last year's great team. They got into the playoffs at 7-3. They're young. They'll be back. It ain't it. This ain't it. Sheehan, I'm taking Sheehan. I'm taking the Titans. They're playing an SEC Tier 2 schedule. They're playing double L schools. Remember when they won Class S and we talked to them after the podcast, and I forgot who the player was, but he was just basically like, yeah, those were the 3 easiest games we played all year because, they played like Fairfield Prep. So I'm going with Sheehan in this one. I'll tell you now, Sheehan's going to be my pick to win double S. So, Sean, who do you like?
Yeah, look, I mean, Sheehan gave Hand a game, okay, and Hand is very good. Sheehan is Sheehan. They got Corey. They got Brady Versace, who's just talking about young. Yeah, he's just a sophomore. He's going to be something else. Like Fowler, we love you. We love you, brother. Go ball out, but it's ain't going to be your day. It's going to be a long, long night for Wyndham on their home field. I'm going with Sheehan.
All right, and the final game in double S, it's the defending champs, Joe Barlow, going to Cheshire. Going to Cheshire to play Coggeshall, our new best friends, the Blue Devils, Coggeshall Co-op. They have never made the postseason as this tri-op of Coggeshall, Hillray, East Hampton. They've made it twice before, losing to Ansonia 49-21. And I believe the Coggeshall coach said that if Arkell Newsom wasn't on the team, that Coggeshall would have won easily. Something like that. I'll tell you this one, Barlow's going to win easily in this one. Sorry, my new friends at Coggeshall, but I'm taking Barlow.
Yeah, I mean, look, Barlow is the defending champ. Barlow does not have Shaban anymore. They're our player of the year last year, right? Yeah, he was. He was our player of the year last year. Jeez. Time flies. And he's up now up at UConn with the other player that were John Nair from Law. Anyway, but Barlow, they don't have him, but they still got some pretty good guys. It wasn't exactly the great year that they thought they might have, but there's still plenty of dudes there. I'm going with Falcons.
All right, Sean, who do you like to win double S?
Yeah, Pete, I'm looking right ahead to it. You said it right there. You're with Sheehan. I think I mentioned them. I think we both picked Sheehan if they got in at the beginning of the season, class double S.
Oh, I have this all written down.
Do you? Oh, good. What do you got?
I wrote everything down. I need to. There it is. So through Class S, right? Class S, we both picked Ansonia. I have changed my vote, but your sleeper in S was North Branford. My sleeper in S was Notre Dame Fairfield.
Good one.
Who I just picked to win. And in double S, we both picked Barlow to repeat.
Now we're picking
your sleeper was Granby. My sleeper was Sheehan if they got in. So I am 2 for 2 on my predictions and my sleepers. And both times I'm picking my sleepers to win.
But wasn't that a thing where like the sleepers, like I didn't want to pick the same sleepers as you? You pick different sleepers?
I think that might have been it, but the way I wrote it has you going first each time, so I could be wrong.
Granby can't. That's not bad. Listen, they're number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Listen, I think they'll get there. Not to tip my picks already for down the road, but I think they'll get there.
I just want to say, of all the champs and picks, 6 divisions, we picked. Was it 12 overall? 11 of my 12 all made the playoffs.
You're good. All right. How about me? No.
I'm sorry. 10 of my 12 made the playoffs. You 1, 2, also 9 of 12.
I did this with George Mayo on. He also did a thing with me when I went on the air with him to start the season, and I nailed a few divisions, man. There were like 1 or 2 I had I had 7 or 6 of the teams in the divisions, like the double L's. I mean, double L, I don't think I did great because it's nest at the bottom.
Nobody did great. No one in double L did great anyway.
But I did say Waterbury Career Academy. I did pick them to go to Class S. There you go.
All right.
Me.
So I'm going with Sheehan. You're also picking Sheehan in double S?
Now I am, yeah.
All right. We're going to go to M.
Class M. Number 1, Hand. Number 8, St. Joseph. Dun, dun, dun. Hand and St. Joseph in a rematch of a game played 2 years ago, the one I went to, which is an all-time epic game. And St. Joe went on to win. And Hand didn't make the playoffs last year. St. Joe obviously did, and they lost to Cheshire. Now we come back to 2 teams, Pete, that nobody wanted to see in Class M. Thank goodness one of them is only going to survive to the semifinals because one of them is going to knock the other out. Hand number 1, St. Joseph number 8. Look, going to the second game there, a rematch. Number 4 ATI plays Northwest United. We didn't talk about this game, Pete, in the recap of Thanksgiving Day because, frankly, none of us went to it. But some shenanigans going on with Northwest United. It was alleged that a parent from Northwest United somehow finagled his way onto the chain crew during the game at Kennedy Stadium between Bullard Havens and ATI. So he was on the ATI sidelines. We reached out to Jen Garzone and the crew at Northwest United. She did not comment there, but half their staff, I think about 4 or 5 guys, or 4 people, including her, were suspended for that game. They did not coach in it. A spokesman said from the Connecticut Technical Schools said that they made that as a precautionary measure. They weren't saying that anybody was guilty because, it's an unethical thing, perhaps, but did they really break a rule for a guy? I mean, who's policing that? And, I know ATI maybe thought a little differently, but they did suspend those coaches, and ATI won pretty handily in that game. Now the Northwest United coaches are back for this game. Maybe it's going to be a different time, but clearly, that was the thing that we were worried about, that ATI with a win was going to have to face them again, and probably shouldn't want to face them again after this. But really interesting stuff going on there. I mean, I don't know.
But think about it. You're the CTC, you're the tech, you're the state, right? Whoever this, is deciding, and you're like, all right, let's just suspend them for one game. Like, they probably won't play each other in the playoffs anyway because the tech school has never won a playoff game, so we're just going to avoid any potential conflict. And it's like, oh, great, 4 days later they're playing again. I mean, this is...
Look,
this is the opposite of what they wanted, of what the tech wanted.
I always say that the Connecticut high school football really mirrors college football. I mean, we have conferences, we have conference realignment, we have all that mess. Now we got a Jim Harbaugh situation potentially. Did Jen and her staff do anything wrong? I mean, did Jen and her staff? I don't know. But it seems to be that a father of one of the players did end up on that sideline.
You got to know better than that.
What? I mean, I know. I don't know.
You have to know better than that, even if you don't think it's right or wrong or ethical or unethical.
What are you doing on that
you
side?
Just have to take a step back and say, this looks kind of funny.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Not great.
Anyway, yeah, so that's the thanks from Mike for about tracking that information down during this thing. So we heard grumblings about it leading into the Wednesday night games. And, again, Jen, no comment. They are served their suspension. They will be back for this quarterfinal game, which suddenly the intrigue ramps up to 100 million. It's just going to be crazy. So ATI, though, that's ATI, Northwest United at ATI. Again, the other going at the bottom half of the bracket, you have number 2 Rockville in another rematch of last year. It was a semifinal game, remember, last year, and Berlin just wiped the floor with Rockville. That didn't have Amir Knighton. Now they do. Amir Knighton's now the all-time leading rusher and scorer, right? And
touchdowns, yep.
Touchdowns in Rockville history. 8-9-1, a great season for them. They only lost the one game. Now they got to face Berlin again, and Berlin's played a rough schedule. They lost to Manchester. They beat up Bunnell, if you remember that one. Battle-tested Berlin goes to Rockville now for that 2-7 game. And then finally, SMSA, which has had a great year, 9-1. We haven't really talked about them all or any highlights, nothing. They play, now here's the big test, another big test for the NVL. Can they beat the number 3 seed in the Pequot? Holy Cross is really struggling toward the end there. They lost to Gilbert Northwest and Housatonic. Watertown almost beat them. They only beat them by a point. So what's going to happen with Holy Cross? Got a lot of good players, but that'll be a fascinating game. Pete, let's run these down. Let's make some picks.
Yeah, let's start at the top. You know what? No, let's leave that for last. Let's go to Northwest United ATI, obviously a rematch from a couple of days ago. Look, it's so important having coaches on the sideline. It is. I mean, some of the coaches who were filling in, it's great that they volunteered and they stepped up for the kids, but it's not an easy thing, unless you're Masuk, because apparently you don't need coaches. But I'm going to go with ATI in this one. I think we saw kind of a lot of what happened a couple of days ago, and I don't think a lot will change in that time frame.
Yeah, I mean, look, coach is gonna be. It's gonna be a lot tighter game. Pete, I'm just gonna go with the ATI too. Shenanigans or no, I'll just stick with the winner in this one. Chris Pace, the guys did a nice job there last week. And they won the league basically, right? They were the league champs, so good for them. I'm gonna go with ATI as well. Pete.
All right, next one, Holy Cross at SMSA on the road. This one is at Trinity Health or Dillon Stadium, right next door to SMSA. Holy Cross on the road. Funky year, like you said, for Holy Cross. They come in 7-3. Look, SMSA has had a great year. They had a great year last season. And we all were like, Wilton's going to wipe the floor with them. And I think it was 13-8, 13-6. Wilton barely got out of there alive against SMSA. They played so well. The only problem is Danny Hernandez isn't there. And they've had a solid year. They've beaten a lot of good teams, but I think this is where the train kind of stops for SMSA. I'm going with Holy Cross.
I'm going with Holy Cross too. I just can't. Campbell and quarterback. All those guys. There's no reason they shouldn't win this game. There's no reason they should be 7-3. Obviously they got beat up by Ansonia and Naugatuck. Okay, that's but then there was another one in there. The one to Gilbert, just head scratcher. So I don't know. I think the Crusaders should win this game and get to the semis.
Absolutely. All right, we got Berlin at Rockville. This one pains me. I picked Rockville in the semifinals last year. That was a motion pick, personal pick. I didn't think Berlin was that good last year because they played a real soft regular season schedule because of the way the CCC operates. This year, a little bit different. Berlin got bumped up into a higher tier, the CCC. They're battle-tested. Toby Lavender, Kyle Melville, John Morales. I mean, they got guys. They were on the team last year that went to the finals. I think Amir Knighton's awesome. This isn't the year for Rockville. The Redcoats are going to go up. They're going to win. They're going to go to the semifinals. And honestly, I like Berlin's chances of getting to the finals.
Yeah, I like Berlin too, Pete. I saw him against Manchester, and I did see him a little bit against Wilton, though they didn't play great in that game. But who knew? Wilton was actually going to be a juggernaut in the FCIAC. But they didn't play great in that one. But I think that they didn't lose them. They didn't win the Manchester game either. But I like Berlin to come out of this one. Just that, like you said, for once, we used to rag on them for their schedule. They got bumped up. And now it's going to help them out. I'm going to go with them.
All right, in the last game, we skipped it at the top. St. Joe's hand. I mean, everyone else who made M is thrilled. Yeah. Let one of them knock the other one out, and we'll take our chances with one of them left. Hopefully coming off a tough game. Remember, St. Joe's hand, great game, overtime, hand wins. They go to the next round. They jump up, 3 touchdowns on Windsor? Now, Windsor also only played half a game against the Tech School. Windsor was able to come all the way back and beat St. Joe's in that game, knocking both of those teams out in L, setting up the Windsor-Maloney final with Maloney winning. So, if this is a really good game, anything could really happen. But I'm going to go with Hand in this one. I've seen both of these teams. Hand beat Fairfield Prep. And Hand shut out opponents for 6 straight weeks. St. Joe's is great. I mean, I'm happy that they were able to sneak in. It's a transitional year for them. Maybe the transitional last couple of years for them. But I just wasn't impressed when I saw them anytime. Even when they beat Stanford, they obviously struggled against a not-so-great Trumbull team on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go with Hand in this one. And, it's that simple.
Not a vintage St. Joe team. They have injuries. It's just been kind of wacky a little bit. Obviously, the quarterback, has been a freshman. He's kind of learning on the job, and it's, they've been coming along. But Hand just needs to be more like polished and complete here. Although I worried a little bit about their performance early on in that Guilford game. Then again, you have to play 4 quarters, and Guilford did in that one. So Hand, I like Ian Dolan. I like Jack Shea. I mean, there's some guys on the defensive side, man. They're going to be stars in the coming years. So they got some good guys coming up, but I like the Tigers to win this one. I picked them to win it all.
Well, yeah. So your Class M pick was Hand, and your sleeper was St. Joe's. My Class M pick was St. Joe's, and my sleeper was Brookfield. I'm going to flip my pick to your pick, and I'm going to go with Hand. I think Hand's going to win this division, this class. Eric Becker etches his name into the Hand legacy of it being a state championship winning coach.
Yeah. Every coach has been there has won a state title. Mastriani won it in his first year there, right? Or no, second year, right? No, first year.
He won two. He won two.
Yeah, he won back-to-back, though. And then before that, Steve Philippon, I think he won it in his first year. Obviously, Becker didn't do that, but, it's a little different time, a little different era. I think he's getting it this year. So, anyway, on to Class Double M. Let's take a look at that. North Haven's your defending champion. They're number 5 seed. Windsor, after not making it last year, they are 9-1. They only lost that one New Canaan game. They've won, I guess, 7 straight to get in. Bunnell gets in 7-3. Their schedule helped them. Obviously, that hand game really helped Bunnell get into that spot. And Ty Jenkins all about how the Alliance helped them out. Well, in this case, it did that one game. Let's not make the Alliance this great thing. Clearly, it is not. Yeah, Fitch play in North Haven. We had Mike Ellis on. He talked all about how that kind of toughened them up. Hopefully, it toughened them up for another run at it. That's the only thing you can kind of take out of this. Fitch finally getting to the state playoffs. After so many near misses since 2017, Pete, they got to play the team that beat them up 58-28. Jeez. I think they ran up for 563 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns in that game. My goodness. I hope you learned something from that Fitch, because here they come again. That's the 4-5 game. And we talked a lot about it. Number 2, Masuk playing host to Matt Jeffery, and number 7, Cheshire, in just an epic showdown of great players. The best man win. And then number 3, Wilton, in another rematch versus Platt, 8-2. This is a game that Wilton won kind of easily in that Alliance game. The final score was 32 to 14 Warriors. And Platt, really needed to win that Maloney game to avoid this. Now they got to play Wilton again. Maybe they learned something from it. But that is the bracket in Class Level M. Pete's pretty strong, if I do say so myself.
Absolutely, and looking at what we picked at the beginning of the year, you picked Masuk to win it all, and your sleeper was Middletown. Yeah. I picked Windsor to win it all, and my sleeper was Platt.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, go me. All right, let's start at the top. Bunnell on the road against Windsor. Great for Ty. He was on this show. We talked about he made it a big thing. They wanted to make the playoffs. This was a group they had come up short so many times. Really wanted to make the playoffs. They were able to sneak in. They get Windsor. Sorry, Bulldogs. I'm going with the Warriors. I think they are so talented from top to bottom. I'm going with Windsor in this one. They were my preseason championship pick. They're the number 1 seed in the division. It's easy for me. I'm going with Windsor. Sean, who do you like?
Yeah, look, John Manning, Maxim Copeland, the sophomore quarterback, Adrian Robinson's, coming on strong. And their defense has been, just lights out for a good portion of this season. Yeah, things didn't go their way against Buchanan, but they were leading in that game too. They could hang with Buchanan before kind of the wheels fell off in the rain there. But that's going to be really kind of an up and down season for them. But I really like Windsor in this game. I think they've arrived. That Bloomfield performance was something else. So yeah.
All right, like you said, a rematch. North Haven on the road to Fitch. I'm going with North Haven. If it's going to be a rematch and it was so convincing the first time, I'm going to save the listeners some time. I'm going to pick North Haven. We'll talk about North Haven next week.
Yeah, North Haven, I'm sure that the kids were fired up to get Fitch again. Oh, we got to play Fitch again. Yeah? Just don't get too overconfident. I think, Fitch is pretty good. And they were okay there. But I'm going to go North Haven.
All right, Platt, Wilton, another rematch. Pretty convincing. Wilton really has had a great season. Obviously, they lost to New Canaan in overtime, and they lost to Staples by 7. This is a Wilton team that's a couple of bounces away from being 10-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Warriors as well here. I'm assuming you're picking Wilton?
Yes, I am picking Wilton as well. Platt, great season. I picked you as a sleeper. Thank you.
Yeah. They play Wilton, and the results, the ball don't lie. I'm going with the Warriors.
Now, and here is at the bottom, the last game, probably one of the best, if definitely a top 2 first-round quarterfinal game to keep an eye on. That's Cheshire, number 7 seed, going on the road to play Masuk, the number 2 seed. If you were in Double M, you were hoping that they didn't get in. You were rooting for Southington. This team is talented, and if Matt Jeffery is going to be playing, watch out. This is a Cheshire team that went to the semifinals last year. This is a Masuk team that went to the semifinals last year. Both lost in the semifinals. Obviously, Cheshire was in Class M. Look, if Matt Jeffery is going to be on this field and Matt Jeffery is going to be healthy, I'm picking Cheshire.
Pete, I feel...
And look, there are other guys like Jeffrey Gonzalez, Evan Russo, Jack Brewster, but you see the difference when he is on the field.
Here's the difference, I say, though. I mean, Jeffrey's obviously otherworldly, but they also have Champagne on the other side. I think Champagne can keep up with them, but here's the big difference, right? I think Masuk's defense is good, but it's not Cheshire's defense. Cheshire's defense is great.
Don't offend the Masuk defense. They're very touchy.
Yeah, well, listen, I think they're good. I mean, but they've been prone to giving up a lot of points, as you saw. Newtown was scoring on them. Notre Dame Fairfield clearly scored on them a lot. So listen, they have some guys that fly the ball. They might get a little reckless. I don't really know, but I think Cheshire is very disciplined on defense. Listen, Russo is just tremendous. Jack Brewster is good. Lots of guys on that defense. The defense has really been a big part of why. I mean, remember the Shelton game was close. The Prep game was close. They shut them out. But the offense sometimes, especially now with the new quarterback. The quarterback's new and it's kind of a different offense. You need to get Matt Jeffery to do his thing, but I think the defense is what does that. What makes that team. I'm going to go first. That is it for Double M. Let's go to Class L, the other strong one. I think. I'm looking at this one. This might be even a little bit better than Class Double M. I don't know about you, but number one is Naugatuck. Maybe a weak number 1 seed, 10-0, the only undefeated team left, playing number 8 Darien out of the FSAC, 7-3. Number 4 Newtown playing number 5 Shelton. A rematch of last year's Class L first round game won by Shelton. They scored late and hung on as Newtown missed the field goal. Now Newtown's got a new coach. But these teams have got a great playoff history over the last 10 years. And actually, it's mostly been Shelton's way. The only time Newtown won was in the regular season, the year they won the state championship, finished 13-0 in 2019. Then you have number 2 New Canaan playing host to Killingly. Killingly's reward for losing those 2 games early and then coming back 7-3. Now you got to go down to Dunning Field. This actually, Pete, is not the first time. This isn't the first time they've played. They actually played for a state championship. And guess who won? Killingly. In 1996. So there you go. You got that. And then number 3, Maloney, playing host to number 6, South Windsor in the game. South Windsor was 9-1 last year. 1-9 last year, all the way back to 8-2. They got to play Maloney. Let's start making some picks.
All right, starting at the top, obviously Darien on the road to Naugatuck. If you listen to this whole show, I think you know where I'm going with this. Naugatuck has not won a playoff game in 20 years. They haven't won a playoff game since the CIAC expanded the playoffs. They don't beat anyone outside of the NVL. I'm going with Darien here, and I'm going with Darien pretty convincingly. Look, I think Jett Hall is awesome. One of my favorite players. But I'm going with Darien. I'm going with the teams that they've played throughout this entire season are a lot better than the teams that Naugatuck has played. So I'm going with Darien, and I'm really confident about this pick.
Yeah. I'm actually not. I'm going to defer. I'm going to deviate here. I'm actually going to say Jett Hall just kind of transforms this game and does his thing. I know Darien's going to be all over him, and they're going to be scheming and all sorts of stuff to get him stopped. And they might be good early. He's going to have to make some plays late. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to go with Naugatuck. I think they're going to break the spell here.
All right. Shelton at Newtown. Like you said, these teams have met a lot in recent years. We've probably been at all of them, either you or myself. Shelton, you've already seen these picks because of the capsule, so I'm not going to make anyone hold their breath. I am picking Newtown in this game. That's all I'm saying. I am picking Newtown. Sean, who do you like?
Oh. Shelton does not like keep picking them, so there you go. There you go. You got your wish, guys, fellas. Go get it. But maybe, I don't know. I'm not, whatever. I'm going with Shelton because, ride or die, right? I mean, they disappointed me against, who was it? They helped me out against West Haven, against North Haven, but they did not help me out. Again, the week after, I think they played, who was it?
Wilton.
Oh, Wilton. Yeah. Or did I pick Shelton to beat Wilton? Come on, Shelton. All right, jeez. All right, I'm going with the Gales, though, anyway. I mean, this again, the history's kind of on their side for this. Blue and Gold Stadium. David Dodge-Licko is a co-SEC player of the year. What the heck? I'm going to go with the Gales.
I'm just saying, if this works, I get something at the end of the year from Shelton if they win a championship.
Free hot dogs.
Like a ring or, maybe something. Maybe a banner. All right. We got two more. No, because I'm going to be losing the Pick'ems if I keep picking against them. They keep winning. All right, we got two more. We got South Windsor on the road to Maloney. Here we got an CCC Tier 1 team playing against the not CCC Tier 1 team. And therefore, I am going to go with Maloney. I picked Maloney to be my favorite in L to start the year. I picked them as to win the Class L championship, so I'm sticking with the Spartans. I think Dante Kelly is the best player in the state. I think Jesus Martel is a first-team type player. Highsmith, Zakai Moore, all these guys are so good. Ethan Dubinsky, the quarterback, we don't really talk about that much. He beat Shelton in the semifinals last year, right? He came in the quarterfinals game when Kyle Valentine got hurt, and then he started the semifinal game and beat a pretty good Shelton team. He can win playoff games. I'm going with Maloney in this one. Sean, who do you like?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one for me, Maloney. I mean, I got to actually see South Windsor, which makes me a little bit more knowledgeable in this. Like, I've seen them both, unlike you. And I think Logan Sherwood's great. They have some players at South Windsor, but this is a whole nother ball. And actually, South Windsor has a history with Maloney. I think Maloney is 1-3 against them. But the thing of it is that they haven't played since 2016. A lot's changed for Maloney since 2016. So I'm going to go with Spartans.
All right, to the last one, we got Killingly on the road to New Canaan. I love this. This game excites me. This is two very proud programs who have been very successful in recent years. I mean, if you would have told Chad Neal 10 years ago, hey, by the way, you guys are going to have to go to New Canaan and play in a playoff game eventually, I think he would have signed up for it. You got two of the best players in the state going at it in Soren Reef for Killingly and Alex Benevento for New Canaan. I learned this a long time ago in picking these games. New Canaan doesn't lose at home, especially in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with New Canaan here. Look, as good as Soren Reef is, Alex Benevento, Miles Chisholm, Owen Lydon. I mean, this New Canaan defense is awesome. It's going to take a lot more than Soren Reef to beat them, so I'm going with the Rams.
Soren Reef is going to have himself a game, and against that defense, the defense of New Canaan has been the big. I mean, remember offense, Drew Pine, all those guys. It used to be an offensive school. New Canaan was just put up points, play good defense. Don't get me wrong, but the offense was the headliner. Now it's this whole reverse. Since the pandemic, it's all reversed. Now it's all defense. New Canaan just loves just ground and pounding. That's the type of team that Killingly likes to play. Like play those defense, those types. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be good. I think Chad Neal's a coach. I mean, against Lou Marinelli and one of those things. They both went to the championships the last year, but Killingly not as good as it was last year. Soren Reef is great, but still, it's going to be tough for them. I'm going to go with the Rams. Pete.
All right, yeah. So at the beginning of the season, I picked Maloney to win L. You picked Shelton, and we both picked Darien as our sleeper. So go us.
They slept in. They slept their way in.
Yeah, they slept right their way in. The forfeit win against North Haven clearly helped. All right, let's go to the last one, the big boys.
Yeah, we move over to Double L, which is this is our favorite division we've had all year long. It's just top heavy, and it features a lot of teams that kind of by the grace of what this division is, all the tough teams are in L. This is why 6th division stinks. You divided it in half. A lot of teams that would have been Double L are now in L, and you have a bunch of teams that maybe not quite playoff caliber teams in Double L. But here it is, number 1 Staples 9-1 up at the top. They got to play their rematch at Paul Lane Stadium versus Fairfield Prep. Fairfield Prep last year, if you recall, they won this game. We talked about it, 23-22, just a heartbreaker for Staples, and Prep went on to go to the state final. They ended up losing to Greenwich there. The 2-4-5 game, Manchester, Southington, 6-4. It's been a long time. I think actually it was Mike Drury's first season that they went 6-4. They haven't been 6-4 since. They are now on the road in the playoffs, which is very rare. To Manchester, making its first appearance since 1993. In that, also played in that Naugatuck final. They lost that game. Anyway, number 2 is Greenwich playing Stanford, a rematch of a 28-14 victory by Greenwich. The one that kind of opened our eyes a little bit about Stanford, that they would probably get here. They're in their first state playoff game since 1995. And then finally, West Haven with its loss to Prep, sinks to number 3. They got to play New Britain. I think this is the first time West Haven and New Britain are playing, at least in the playoffs since the state championship game in 2003, won by the Black Shirts of New Britain, 13-0. Pete, that is double L. It's top heavy, as we most of the teams that have been in the top 10 of the GameTimeCT poll are here, or top 5, I should say. But I don't know. It's, like we said, this is a weird division.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird division, but we're going to jump right into it just quickly. We both picked Greenwich to win double L at the beginning of the year, and both our dark horses are not in the playoffs. I picked Brian McMahon. You picked Trumbull.
Yeah.
I think my McMahon pick looks a lot better, though, than your Trumbull pick.
Yeah, they actually made a run at it. They had a chance.
All right. So, yeah, Trumbull not so much. All right. So, let's start. Number 8, Fairfield Prep going on the road. Staples, obviously, rematch. I'm going to go quickly. I'm picking Staples in this one. I saw them on Thanksgiving. I think Caleb Smith is so good. I mean, he's that guy. He's that dude. He's him. He's got that dog. Whatever hip lingo, back when I played, he was that dude. He's really good. And if he's going to be playing, which he is, I'm taking Staples in this game. But I'm going to concede the floor to you, Sean.
Pete, I'm going for broken picking Fairfield Prep. What the heck? I'm going with the Jesuits. You know what? I don't know. I just think they're on a roll. They're on a big roll. They just beat West Haven, okay? No slouch. Now, granted, West Haven also does not, this is the second straight year they've not done well toward the end of the season. They lost Prep twice now. And I'm worried about you, West Haven, going into the quarterfinals. I'm worried about it. That's twice now. But now Fairfield Prep feeling, kind of finally after what? 3 months, just misery. Finally got it kind of rolling here. And I like Staples. I think they're good, but they tend to be a little bit one-dimensional sometimes, and that worries me as well. I saw them against Wilton, and Wilton could have beat him in that game. There's been plenty of opportunities. But listen, Caleb Smith is a timer. He's one of the best players in the state. I think Prep knows that. I think Prep's going to be all over it. I mean, listen, the big problem here is going to be the Prep offense, that they can score on Staples' defense, which has been very good, but I think Fairfield Prep's defense is going to do a good job here, and I think they're going to hold this one out. I might be completely nuts. I'm going to hear about it if Staples goes on to win 35-0.
I think you might be a little crazy here. Look, I love that Prep's in here. I give them a lot of credit. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit just keeping this together. After an 0-6 start, to keep it together, not let it get out of control. But here's the thing. There are 4 wins. Hamden, Xavier, Notre Dame, West Haven, and then obviously West Haven on Thanksgiving. One of those wins is a playoff team. One of those wins is impressive. That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting it out there.
All right, yeah, listen, someone needed to do something crazy here, and I'm doing it. I'm pulling the trigger on it. Yeah.
Do something crazy. Sammy Adams? No? All right. Southington, Manchester. Southington's a CCC Tier 1 team. Manchester's a CCC Tier 2 team. I'm going with Southington. They don't lose to Manchester. Sean, what do you got?
I'm not going to go too crazy here. Manchester, I saw them play against Berlin, so I'm pretty good. They're not going to beat Southington. This is a whole nother ballgame. I'm going for the United, especially after losing last week.
But great season for Manchester. Please send your previews in next year. We've never gotten a preview back from you.
Kids, tell Coach, look for his preview in his email. August, same with Cognachuk. Look for your preview survey in the email. 137 teams. We need everybody's help to pull that together, and it's all for everyone's benefit. Everyone can go check out what other teams have and blah, blah, blah. That's how we do this. It's a lot of work, and we need your cooperation. So great getting in. Let's get a little help next year, 2024. All
right, I'm going to skip the New Britain West Haven game. We're going to wrap up with that one. We're going to go Stanford Greenwich. Greenwich was my pick at the beginning of the year. As of this recording, I have not submitted my top 10 ballot to Mike Fornabayo yet because I have no idea who I'm going to vote number 1. But I picked Greenwich to win double L at the beginning of the year. I'm going to pick them to win double L now. So I'm picking Greenwich to beat Stanford in this game. George Vanvalakis is probably not playing in this game for Greenwich, but I don't think it matters. I'm going with the Cardinals.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals too. I think they won't be surprised this time. I think they might have been a little surprised that Stanford actually put up a fight. Stanford's good. Greenwich, coming off a loss now, they're going to be anxious to win that state championship again. I'm going to go with Greenwich.
Yeah, but just also to Donnie, to Stanford, awesome season. I mean, Presley is a junior, Harris is a junior. This is not the last we're going to hear of Stanford. I think this is the beginning of some pretty good stuff.
Here's the thing about Stanford: the schedule's not, no slouch either.
Nope.
And they won some games. So
hey, look, if Stanford played anyone else, I could pick them, but they just are playing Greenwich.
They don't have tiers or these like give everyone a break schedules in the FCIAC, which is one of the endearing things about it. I still like the FCIAC schedule. So but anyway.
Yeah, I liked it when they played 9 games to play a pretend championship game. Anyway, to the last game. We got number 6 New Britain going to Ken Strong to play number 3 West Haven. You brought it up earlier, and I want to talk about it. I'm concerned about West Haven too.
Yeah. It's 2 years.
I am. 2 years in a row they lost to Fairfield Prep in a game that everyone thought they should have won. And, well, okay, maybe not everyone, because Fairfield Prep was very good last year. Let's not, they lost a couple of games early, ran the table to get to the finals. They were very talented. But it's the second year in a row that West Haven has a CCC opponent that we both think that they should beat pretty convincingly. And last year, West Haven lost 17-7 to Glastonbury at home. Though Glastonbury did have first-team All-State register pick Jack Petrone on the team.
Basically sealed it in that game. He made us. That's it. He's the first teamer now.
Yeah. You look at New Britain. They got good guys. Donovan Campbell, Caden Hill's really good. There's no Jack Petrone on that side. I'm going to pick West Haven, but I am not super confident in the Blue Devils in this game. They need to come out and put up a statement win to get your boy back on their side.
Yeah. I don't know. What's going on, West Haven? Is it can't be conditioning, can it? I mean, are you guys just tired, or I don't know. But I'm very worried about you guys. Very interesting, but I'm going to go with West Haven as well. I think New Britain's okay. They're not West Haven, and at least not the West Haven I know. So I'm going to go with the Westies here. Good job getting here by Isaiah Bodie's guys. Isaiah, if you recall from New Britain, he took over for Tabaki Jones, and it looked. I saw him 2 years ago, and I was like, yikes, they got a ways to go. And sure enough, 6-4, they are here. So good for them. I'm going to go with West.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's the picks. If we want to go through it quickly, I'm picking Greenwich to win double L. Sean, who do you think is going to win double L?
Greenwich double L. I'm going to pick them to win. We did not do this for the others, did we?
We did not. That's why I'm backtracking. So we're both taking Greenwich to win double L. Who are you taking to win L?
Pete, I picked Shelton in the beginning of the year in Class L. Oh, man, I would love to see Shelton play Naugatuck in an all-Valley, the real Valley championship now that Naugatuck has dispatched Ansonia. I actually like the Gales to get to the final this year. In the other one, though, on the other side, that's going to be really tough. Maloney, New Canaan for me in the second round matchup. A rematch of the Class L final last year. This year, I am going to go with Maloney. I can't believe I said that. And Maloney to win it all in the final, Pete. That's my Class L pick. You.
Yeah, Maloney was my Class L pick at the beginning of the year. I'm going to stick with it. I think they're the best team in this bracket. Kevin's going to hate that I picked them, but because he loves to throw this up on the bulletin board. But yeah, I just think Maloney's so good this year. I mean, they're a yard away from being 10-0.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that, right?
Couple of yards away. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably good for him. But
absolutely. And I don't think New Canaan's going to be that aura around New Canaan if they meet in the semifinals is not going to be as big as it was last year.
Yeah, correct.
So, all right, who do you like in double M?
Man, I can see. I'm going to go with Windsor. The heck with it. I'm going to go with Windsor to win this whole thing, Pete. There you go. I don't know. I'm not going to pick who in the semifinals. All
right, copying me because I picked Windsor at the beginning of the season as well. All right, I'm going with Windsor. Huh?
Good.
I picked Windsor at the beginning of the year. My 3 preseason picks are all still here.
Oh, good for you.
And I picked all of them. Well, actually, all my preseason picks are still live, as are yours. But Greenwich, Maloney, and Windsor were mine in the top 3. In Class M, I picked St. Joe's at the beginning of the year, but I'm going to switch. I'm going to follow you with your preseason pick, and I'm going to pick Hand and M.
This is the only one, other than Greenwich, Pete, this is the only one I'm very confident about. I mean, very confident about. I picked this. I nailed this one last year in October 1st. Notre Dame was going to win. And sure enough, here we are. I say Hand wins going away. That they are going to be tough. They might get a little bit of a tough one in the final, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then in double S, I believe we both picked Barlow at the beginning of the year, but we both picked Sheen in the show. And in S, we both picked Ansonia at the beginning of the year. You picked Ansonia in the show, and I picked Notre Dame Fairfield to win S.
Here's the thing. I think Bloomfield beats Notre Dame Fairfield. That's my take on it. That's why I'm not picking Notre Dame Fairfield. So there you go. Take that.
One team didn't need a 30-point comeback to beat Masuk, so.
Fair enough. But that's also week 3, not week 12.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Do something crazy.
No, let's get out of here. Okay. Thank you for joining us on the Meat Grinder. Thanks for joining us all year. Congratulations to all the teams that are had good seasons that are here, and better luck next year for all you guys who didn't make it, and or hope that the proposal goes through. Yeah, maybe you'll be in next year at 3. Listen, I said in a guide thing that this is going to be a first round game, and that's correct. Like 2-8. Oh, let's play this 2-8 team. Forget this playoff stuff. I like where let's just keep it the way it is. I mean, I know I hate. You've got me to the point where I'm actually embracing the 6 divisions now because the other thing is just really boring and ridiculous. Other than the schedule,
the 12 seed. Granted, it would be wildly different. The 12 seed would be 4 and 6 in double L this year.
Let's get out of here. All right. So that's the picks this week. We're on to the quarterfinals. So for Pete Paguaga, I'm Sean Patrick Bowley. This has been the Meat Grinder at GameTimeCT.
Love you all.